Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. We are a little dark here because it's so sunny outside. Yeah, lovely to see you all. So the name of the talk today is Liberation is not a personal experience. Yeah, I hope you can all see me. Yes, I can. Yes, you can. Yeah, so liberation is not a personal experience. Nice. But before we begin the talk, we will do the usual, which is meditation. I always like to sit in silence before giving a talk, just because I can then vibrate in the energy of silence and let silence speak through me. The real thing. Afternoon from medium sunny Oxford. Hello, Lisa. Yes. This is very sunny suddenly. Yeah. Okay, so we shall start with the meditation. So just as a note before we meditate, please note that I'm not implying that there is somebody there that can meditate, even though that's what it sounds like I'm doing. There is a functioning that can happen where there's like a little voice that's like, oh, I'm going to meditate now, and then the body follows through. It's not meaning that there is somebody there that can meditate. That isn't who you are. That is a little voice that is very intriguing. And also, it doesn't mean by doing the meditation that you are going to get to enlightenment, because who would get to enlightenment or liberation? Who is it that you think yourself to be? That is the question. Who? Yes. So we shall begin. I recommend different meditation practices because it helps you cognitize what we're doing. But actually, I don't really have a foot in any boat. That's the right saying. I don't really mind what you do, and I don't think that this is the right path for you and this is going to help you the most. I just feel like I'll give up suggestions and you take it or you don't take it, and some of them might be more conducive to relaxation for the person than others. So the first one that I recommend is the mindfulness of breathing. The mindfulness of breathing, which is a very simple meditation. All you do is you count your breath inwards when you go in. So when you breathe in, you count your breath all the way up to number 10. So that's it. Then when you get to 10, you come back to 0 and start again. And it's just about focusing the mind. And it's not like, oh, I did really badly if I don't do it right every time. It's just catching yourself. Like you'll drift off, but you'll see that you'll manage to carry on counting. So it's just every time you catch yourself, even if you've got up to 2,000, it's just like, yeah, baby, yeah. You always want to condition yourself in a positive way. It's not like, oh, I'm a failure, I failed again. And if you find yourself doing that, then maybe that's not the meditation for you. Yes. It's not that one shoe fits all. It's all about the feet today. So we have that. The next one is putting your attention in the I am or consciousness. So in that sense of being or in the empty looking. So just moving your attention into that repetitively. And then the last one, which I'm sure is the favourite, is just sitting there and letting the mind do whatever it wants and not focusing it or anything, just letting it think the way it thinks. With all the meditation practices, if you find yourself getting stuck in trauma, then I would recommend doing something else. doing yoga. And if you find yourself in compulsive thinking, competitive thinking is okay, but compulsive OCD thinking, then just do something else. It's maybe not the best thing to be done in this moment for you. Okay, let's begin. Yes. Okay, so I am going to dong my big gong. Oh, I can't today. My black hole, which loops everything, isn't working. So I'm just going to do a ding with my voice, and then the meditation begin. So I'm going to do a nice big ding, and that means begin. And then there's something that I just have to do in the computer. So you might see me fiddling around for a few moments, but then I will join you in meditation. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Ding. Bing. Hello, Alola. So the title is Liberation is not a personal experience. So this is all there is, which you've most probably heard a billion times before, or maybe you're new and this is the first time, but I highly doubt that if you're new to non-duality, you would come to me. If you're new to non-duality, you'll be looking for somebody that looks like they're into non-duality. I do not look like a non-duality teacher, so that will be the first burp burp. And then secondly, I don't speak light. So I can also imagine it's like, you what, love? Yeah. But this is all there is. And that's it. That's it. End of story. That is the freedom, that this is all there is. And because chimpanzees descended from the trees, they came down the trunk and they started walking on the flatlands, they began to increase this activity in the brain which could perceive potential threats in the past and also ones which had threatened them, in the past and in the future, potential threats from the past and ones that could happen in the future. And because that happened, this brain thing, this magical organism, which is only ever arising now, formed this ability to imagine future and past. And then through that and the growth of language, you then began to imagine a you. Whereas prior to that, when we lived up in trees and we were like, whoo, 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 sniffing each other's butts, we didn't have a very strong time-bound reality. We were very much more instantaneous, and we couldn't imagine an us or a them. Even though chimpanzees can recognize themselves in a mirror, they still don't have this idea or this knowledge or this language of I am somebody. Sorry, I think I'm getting messages. I hope it's not about my audio now. So then when we came down onto the flatlands, we had to think more in time because it was way more dangerous in the flatlands. In the trees, it was very much about being in the moment and being reactive and responsive to what was happening in the trees. Very instantaneous, like the movement of grabbing and moving quickly through the trees. You had to be so focused and present. So it was very much about now, 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 now. Whereas on the flatlands, we had to begin to think, last time we walked through this area, a lion ate one of us. Last time we did this, this happened. In order to survive down here on the flatlands, which are also hilly, we had to think in time. And then this growth of the time bound led to this idea of you. And so most people sit there and believe that they are somebody going through time, whereas you're not somebody going through time. You are this ever-present moment, which is unmoving and yet moving. And that's all there ever is this moment. Can you ever grab hold of the past? You can have a picture or a video of the past. You can like rewind me now, but we can't actually have the past. You can never grab it. You can never grab the future. You're only ever here. But our mind is working in a way where it's constantly replaying the past and future, making it feel like you are somewhere. But you're not somewhere, you're nowhere. We are all nowhere, suspended in the middle of nothing, which is absolutely terrifying to the person, but it's nothing to be afraid of because it's your essence. A person is terrified of that vast emptiness of what they are because the person requires things and times and space in order to exist. So all you are, put simply, is this, and that is the freedom of non-duality. That's the freedom of all the spiritual traditions. It's all you've ever wanted is this moment. The mind says, I don't want loneliness. The mind says, I want this person to be nice. The mind says, I need a home. The mind says, I need a certain amount of money. The mind says, I need peace. The mind says, we need to be sustainable. The mind says all these things, which creates this energy of rejecting what is. But there's nothing to reject. Everything is that which you are. There is nothing to be afraid of. There is nothing to hide from. There is nothing which is threatening you as this moment. Now, the character inside this movement, which is apparently an object in relationship with lots of other objects, there are things to be afraid of. If the lion comes chasing, run away. If you're presented with a disease-ridden piece of food, don't eat it. So the person has all these things to deal with, but as and who you are, there is nothing to be afraid of, because everything is you. Everything. And you're not moving. Where are you going? You're always here. Always. It's just all these things are coming and going in you, as you. But you aren't moving. You're always in this stillness, with the appearance of this movement. The mind imagines, no, but I've just come from here, I'm going there, but that's imagination. I have this problem and that problem, that's imagination. I feel uncomfortable, that's imagination. The discomfort's there, but the I feel uncomfortable is imagination. If the dog is uncomfortable, it's just uncomfortable, they can't perceive it. Khaleesi often thinks I'm hurting her when she's in pain. I try to explain rationally that I cannot be possibly hurting her leg if she's like 4 meters away from me, but she's like, paranoia, Khaleesi. I'm only joking. There's pain in the leg and everything is that pain. Because unfortunately a few times we have had accidents and I've hurt her accidentally, like falling off the bike and things and dropping things. She unfortunately associates this with me. I have a very clumsy personality. The coordination doesn't always work properly. And Khaleesi is well aware of this. The thing is coming, it is coming rapidly, it is wobbling, run! So everything that you think is a problem now is imagination. I don't mean to be gaslighting you or dismissing your feelings, and we can go back at that and we can like hear your feelings and really listen to your feelings, because that's important to do as a human species. But there is no problem. Ever. Ever. There isn't a problem. There isn't a problem now. There is imagination which keeps going me, problem, 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 me, problem. There is just this moment, and this moment is free. I mean, look at it. It's like, hello, hello, it's here. It's what's always here. It's the birthright of all things. And this moment contains two things which never leave. That is the watching and that sense of beingness. And the watching isn't watching from a place, the watching is the things. And the same with the beingness. That sense of being, not I am something, but I am, is actually all things as well. It's simultaneous with this moment. Those things cannot be here without Everything. Everything and consciousness and I amness belong together. Celebrate good times. Woohoo! Woohoo! There isn't a problem here. There isn't a problem here. There isn't a problem here. The person contracts and lives in often mental thoughts which are telling you of problems, and then those problems create feelings in your body. And this is often habitual and been going on for many years, and then it kind of becomes automatic. Your body habitually feels that problem. So say if you feel very disempowered, you'll wake up in the morning without even that story of being powerless, but your body will habitually feel like that. And then your body will navigate situations around that feeling. So you're kind of like, that's where law of attraction comes into things, because you kind of go towards the resonance of that feeling. Like things that make you feel disempowered, you maybe go towards them, or maybe you go towards things in which you can break down that feeling again and again. And disempowerment inherently isn't an identified feeling. That is something that happens if you're in jail, if you're cuffed up, if you're nailed to the cross. There is a disempowerment that's happening there. If you are in a society where there is a big disbalance in power, then there is going to be disempowerment. But it's this identification and this belief that that is who you are, and then this owning of it, like this embodying of that disempowerment. Like, this is who I am. And then this kind of personality that becomes a disempowered personality, but it doesn't even know it's disempowered. It just might look like a grumpy person, or a like heavy person, or a whiny person. It has no consciousness that underneath it all it feels disempowered. It's just acting it out as if that is who they are. And that to me is a life of suffering, to keep acting out these patterns and believing that's who you are. Everybody's going to have patterns, and when you wake up and disidentify with the person, there's still going to be patterns in that body, because it is a pattern. But it's this identification, this absolute belief in its truth. That is who I am, but just not even naming it, an absolute unconsciousness to it, and an identification with it. And it's an energy, like an energy contraction. And then from that arises seeking, because you feel like you've lost your sense of self. There's everything. You can't articulate this, but there's always this sense of loss and loneliness. Like I am alone. Like the human deeply feels I am alone. Because its true nature is wholeness. So with Calicia, she got lost and was by herself. Yes, she'd be scared and frightened, but there's still this connection to the wholeness of what you are, which isn't alone, which is all things, which is constantly surrounded by things, which constantly is those things. And I had this waking up experience, which I've spoken about many times for all the years that I've been speaking. Like I had this like sense of being very alone on a human level, and then I was just like looking through the window, and there was these palm trees and grasses, I forget what the plants were now, like flapping outside the window, and that the sunlight was and the shade were dancing with them. And just suddenly had a sense that was stroking me, that was me, it was like supporting me, it was like every part of me. I wasn't separate from that, I wasn't ever this alone human. I'm just going to turn down my stream size. I haven't got as good at internet as I've normally got. Yes, I hope that stops it buffering for people. So even in me speaking, or any teacher speaking about this, there might be the sense like, I want that. I need that to be free. But notice that this is a story and that runs in this, but there's something else in which that runs in. So you've got an imagination of you that's going to become enlightened, but that's rising in something that's perfectly still now. And that's the freedom. Like you could say it's like the background is the freedom, not what you as a human personally desire. So you're listening to me and you're thinking, oh, I want that, where is it, where is it? But it's appearing in a freedom that is. So what is it that's free right now? What is it that doesn't move? What is it that's always here, no matter where you go or what you do? So you go to New Zealand, you go to South Africa, you go to Egypt, you go to India, you go to Pakistan. But yet there's one thing that remains. What is it that's always remaining? And this is the freedom. This is the freedom. It's so expansive and free. It doesn't need any effort. It's without effort. It is the birthright of all beings. It's not like you wake up in the morning and you're like, hang on, just let me turn on this moment. Let me turn on the consciousness to this moment. Beep, 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 beep. Because what would know that? What would be conscious of that? Like, how could that happen? It's already happening. When you've woken up, this is already happening. So you can't like then be like, oh, okay, let me get that. It is your birthright and you didn't do anything to get it. It's here all the time. Because the person is narrating to itself, which is an important part of human survival, but because it's narrating to itself what it's doing, what it wants to do, its choices, its story of itself, its story of the external world, it always thinks I'm in control and I'm doing this life and I am alive. But you're appearing in life. You are, like, the person is appearing in life. The person is appearing in life. Who you are is this absolute life. And that is not in the person's control. The person appears in that. That is inherently here. Inherently here. Yeah, baby, yeah. You can't control this thing. You can't pick it and pick it all up like life, put all of it into a bag and be like, that means time, not on that. And then I'm going to control it. I'll poke my hand in and control it. It's here. You are appearing in it. You are an expression of it. The human is an expression of it. The person is an expression of it. I keep moving between what you means, and I'm sorry, that's so confusing, but that's just what happens. So the person isn't a doer, the person isn't happening, but the person is always narrating to itself, I do. But all your choices, so there's the appearance of choices, but all of your choices are coming from that creative expression of nowhere. It's not coming from a somewhere. So if you say, oh, I'm going to make myself a coffee, and you like really believe you're going to make yourself a coffee, where does that come from? The person is in that statement, like, I'm going to make myself a coffee, and then there's a feeling of me. But where does it come from? Did you program in that thought prior, like, beep, 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 program in, I am going to want a coffee, and then I'm going to think I'm going to make a coffee? Like, it's rising. And it feels like you, it feels like you're doing, and that's what it's meant to do. Ramesh Balsekar always used to say, you have to have the appearance of free will, otherwise you'd feel like you're in a cage. So there's an appearance of free will. So there's appearance, like, I'm going to make myself a coffee. But actually, when you look at it, who is this you that's making coffee? There is the appearance of a thought. There is the arising of the feeling that you're going to make the coffee. And that is arising in this thing called life. And life is what's always constant. The you is coming and going. The you's wants is coming and going. Needs, memories, ideas. Yeah. It's so exciting talking about this subject. I do so enjoy it. Yeah, thank you for letting me express this to you. Oh! But that's what we do on the human level. I say thank you to this character, and then this character's like, yes, my pleasure, my pleasure, my pleasure. But it's arising in this no place, and that's what we actually are. This no place. This life, which is love. But these characters dance. They dance. They dance. So everything that you're dreaming of that's going to fix your life isn't going to fix your life. There's going to be more pleasurable or more painful, but it's not going to fix your life. Your freedom is this expansiveness of who you are, not a time-bound thing. It really is this moment. It's this. And this is where the healing truly happens. This is what loads of religious traditions have been speaking about. Just this right now, nothing more. Not somebody experiencing this, not somebody in relation with another, but this, which is all things appearing as nothing. Okay, so you can ask questions on Skype. My Skype address is Lisa Cairns 12. You can find the information in the box below. I have a red do not disturb sign, but please just write in questions there. And if you want me to call you, put call me with nothing else underneath. So call me with nothing else. And then you can write questions. Yeah. Hey, Nick. Uh-oh. I think my internet is very slow. I can't see the picture. Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Thomas. Okay, Katie wants me to call her. Okay, just one moment. Unfortunately, there is an issue with my sound right now. I just have to make sure it's not on my phone. Bluetooth. Yeah, I thought you were, you naughty boy. Okay. We have to try and see if this works. Just let me do Skype. Audio and video. Microphone, speaker. Okay. Let's see if this works. I just have to mute my volume. Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Yeah, good, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, yeah. I've switched off my YouTube.
Good. Fantastic. I hope this is working. I had to do another different way from the way I usually do it because some of my technical stuff just seems to be missing off my computer. I'm not sure why. Okay. How can I help you or not help you today?
I guess I have a kind of practical question.
Yeah.
Because you were just mentioning about doership and, you know, how we're not really doing anything. And this, I don't know, like, I've heard that, you say that before, and it's something that I've really been thinking about for, like, the last, I don't know, how many weeks. And I was just thinking, like, although intellectually I can understand what you're saying and the concept of what you're saying, I feel like I need to kind of like somehow take that in a deeper way. But I don't really know how. I don't really like. I feel like I need some kind of practical application, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that for you either. Like, I don't know how that happens. Like, that we absorb ideas. I mean, some people might say it's like repetition, like into the brain. Like, if you repeat things again and again. But I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know how you make that go in deeper. But maybe I'm being too what is that word? Not logical, but too, I'm taking your question very sincerely. Maybe if I like
literally.
Yeah, literally, that's the word. Maybe if I like look at it from a different angle. So if now you close your eyes, where are your thoughts arising from?
From consciousness.
Is that what it feels like? Is that your experience?
I guess it feels more like it's coming from the me.
And where is your me?
But I guess it feels like it's in my head somewhere. Like if I was to, but I can't find it.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. It's in your head. Like, so that's what we've been taught for many years, is that there is a person inside our head, whereas we actually don't know where thoughts come from. And I think that scientists are even baffled by this, but I'm not positive when I say that. But I think they're also baffled as to where thoughts originate from. There's been incidences where people have had organ transplants and then they've had thoughts of that person that previously had the organ. So they've had thoughts and memories. Yeah, so we don't actually know where thoughts are arising, but we've been told they arise in the head. And our imagination is so powerful. I remember this one time, which is so inappropriate to say on a live stream, but hopefully no one no one who could get me in trouble will be listening. One time I was stoned. I was with a friend, and they really gave me too much weed. It was like through this like special pipe thing, and I can't handle any types of drugs. I'm like what you'd say is a real lightweight. And I remember like laying there, and I suddenly just like went into hysterics because I was like, even gravity is mind-made. Like, the idea that maybe this is you can only think about this when you're stoned actually, but the idea that gravity is something where we're standing upright and the feeling of gravity is mind-made. Like, gravity, I know that gravity is a thing, like, scientifically in this world.
Yeah.
But it's also mind-made. Like, we have this idea and this expectation that we should be upright and that this is gravity, and we have a feeling of it. But it's also mind-made. It's
I know what you're saying, because I mean, I do feel like because I have had a kind of awakening where obviously I realized like I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my body.
Yeah.
And there's like a sense now that life is kind of like a dream in a way. Like when I look into like the external reality, it's like there's a kind of unreality to it, even though I know there is a kind of reality to it as well.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a bit like, I don't know if that really had anything to do with what you were saying, but it's like I guess what I'm saying is like we can feel something that is so real when it's you can find out later that it's not so real.
Yeah, totally.
It's a bit like when you wake up from a dream.
Yeah, and gravity to another life form will be completely different. So the idea that you've been told that thoughts arise in your head has actually, I would suspect, made you feel like thoughts are arising in your head. Like it's an imagination that has kept that entrapped. So therefore, like it feels like there is somebody inside this brain that is creating thoughts. Like you feel you're responsible for your thoughts and your urges and your actions, whereas this isn't true. It's an idea which has energetically kind of made it feel like it's happening in your body. So in every moment you think you're thinking, it's not like you're thinking that, it's like a feeling. It's like you feel there is a you in there in which you're thinking and you're doing, but this isn't the reality. Your actual experience, when you come back to it and when you really can question everything, is you don't know where thoughts are coming from. They could be coming from the outside, like outside the body. We don't know where thoughts are arising, and we don't know how we're hearing thoughts. Like it's not like they're a sound.
Also, I was just thinking this today actually that I've had some experiences as well where I've had thoughts, but I also have become aware that like they're not my thoughts, they're somebody else's thoughts. Like, and I've picked up somebody else's kind of like radio frequency.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
And it's like suddenly you've got a thought in your mind, but it's hard sometimes to know like which, like where they're coming from, because it's like, well, how do you know which is like technically your thought, if thoughts are yours, and then technically somebody else's thought?
That is complicated. And then we got the collective thinking. Like I don't know if you noticed this, but if there's something that is in fashion, like a color or something, you'll begin to think it. It's really amazing. Like I don't know, like it's same with popularity of something. So if something becomes really popular, we begin to collectively pick up on that. You know, it's not a it's just the way we are. We are telepathic beings, but we just don't communicate that, and we don't have that in our language, so we don't appreciate that in any way. But I same.
See why that would make sense. Sorry.
Yeah, but it's the same with you thinking. Like there is such an assumption that is other people's thoughts, and these are your thoughts. But if you look at it all through the time span, like other people's thoughts and your thoughts are a really impersonal occurrence, because you're thinking your thoughts because of all the humans that have thought their thoughts prior to you. So where is the first entity that has its own thoughts? Like you can only think the way you think now because previous humans invented that. Like it's like a domino effect. But because we only have this slice of time, this apparent slice of time as humans, we then feel like, oh, that's me and they're my thoughts, and it's so personal. But the only reason that you know day is because humans have already named that and made that up and made it a meaning of something. And it's become...
we've labelled everything.
Yeah, we've labelled, and we've given ways in which we think and in which we speak, in which we communicate things. Like in the sayings that we say, the way we compare things to things, the idioisms. Can't say the word. Like and then you think, okay, these are my thoughts, but it's in a way it's like completely arrogant that we would claim that anything is our thoughts. Because where did your thoughts begin? And I can assure everybody that's listening, those thoughts have been thought billions of times before. Like it's totally not personal. And then if you come back to the moment, so we look at the timeline, you come back to the moment right now, you don't know where those thoughts are arising from. You can't find this you in which they belong to. They're appearing out of no place, just like everything else. Just like the wall is in the computer, it's appearing from this instantaneous no place.
Yeah, that has kind of helped kind of to see that a little bit clearly, or clearlier. I don't think clearly is a word.
Yeah, I'm infecting you with my mispronunciation of words.
I actually have a similar thing. Like some words, I think I said muriel the other day instead of mural, and I still can't say it right. So
yeah.
But I've also had some experiences like I've had an out of body experience where I left my body and I felt as if I was everything.
Yeah.
And there was this really intense sense of love, which is kind of like completely and utterly undescribable.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Because it's nothing I've really ever experienced other than when I was outside of my body, if you know what I mean. And this happened when I was really young, so I was like 8, and then I went back inside my body, and I kind of like looked at my hands and knew that I was not the body and I was not my thoughts, or I wasn't this person. Like I wasn't Katie, and I wasn't like the child of my parents. And as all of this was kind of unfolding, it was totally terrifying to my like 8-year-old self. Like when I was in the experience, it was amazing and beautiful, and I was just in the experience. But then, if you can call it an experience, but then when I was back inside my body, it was like totally like confusing and terrifying. Then obviously like cut to like lots of years later, I suddenly could kind of understand some of what that was about. But I just wondered if this feeling of being connected to everything, like where does that, like I know you talk about like the consciousness and the I am, but I just wondered if you had any thoughts on like that feeling of being like connected to everything, like
that's when you see, that's when
where
you
is that, where is that coming from?
That's when it's really, really recognized. So I can hear that you've had awakening experiences and that you're really tasting this, but it's when it's really recognized that who you are is everything. Like, so when it's really energetically known that who you are is everything in this moment, like all things, and that's where the connection is. Like, and that's where the freedom is really recognizing that who is hearing me now is all things, not a person. So it's all things speaking, all things hearing. You could also say no thing as well. And that's what's actually hearing now. That's what's communicating now. The bodies are like instruments. The bodies are like microphones and cameras. They're not actually perceiving this.
It's so amazing. It's so beautiful, and it's so simple. It's like it's so simple, and yet it seemingly seems so far away. If you know what I mean?
Because the brain is so used to, and it's not just in this life, but in all previous lives, the brain is so used to. I don't know if this is right English. Cognifying everything, like putting it into thought patterns. So the brain is used to understanding everything in time. And that's why you got terrified as an 8-year-old, because it didn't fit in with your cognitive awareness. So the brain was like overfiring, like what the hell just happened? Because it needs, the person or the brain needs these like simple A to B equals C, like A plus B equals C. Otherwise it doesn't know what to do. And then it like hits into that terror of death on the human level. So then the body goes into like a panic. I'm going to die. Like it's sort of like this, when you have these spiritual experiences, it merges in with the survival level of the person.
I guess also the mind can kind of come up with, it wants to come up with some kind of timeline, like when do I become free, or when, like, is there a time limit? Is there a kind of a way to do it? You know, like you learn to ride a bike, but of course, I'm just thinking, well, there can't really be a way to do it, because if there was a way to do it,
everyone would be doing it.
Everyone would be doing it.
Yeah. But also, so that question's asked, and it's like it's in the freedom. It's the freedom asking that. It's crazy that the freedom asks, "Is there any way I can get to myself?" But it's
that's really beautiful.
Yeah. And then the freedom replies to itself, I'm not there yet. I've got to do something to get there, otherwise I won't be there. But it's the freedom speaking it. It's the freedom saying it. The freedom is in all things. And because it's got the possibility to create anything, it does create everything and anything, including these ideas of losing itself. It's infinite possibilities. Like when you have these awakening experiences, you can often feel that like childlike wonder, that infinite possibilities. That's what your nature is anything is possible. It can create anything.
Like, everything feels like completely miraculous. Like just so like just to be alive is miraculous. Just to be here.
Yeah. It's full of wonder.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for answering my question.
Oh yeah, thanks Katie for calling in. I always really enjoy speaking with you.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
So if you have any questions, the address is Lisa Cairns 12, and just give me a thumbs up if that sound worked. I'm having to do a different way today. Yeah, you can see a lot of people commenting on YouTube, but it's the appropriate places in Skype. It's hard for me to see it on YouTube. Okay. Ida, thank you, Lisa. I'm dancing the thank you dance whenever you appear. Whenever you appear. Oh, that's sweet, Ida. Thank you. Waleed. Hey, Waleed. How do you really relax the person so that non-duality can be heard? A lot of times I feel that the person is sort of fading away and everything is really silent. But when I wake up next morning and the person is as loud, then I wake up the next morning and the person is as loud as ever. How do you remain constant? Yeah, Waleed, I don't know these things. I mean, there's like a pocket of things that I recommend. If you look on my website under references, there's like lots of different practices I recommend to settle down the person. But I don't really know how it all works. And what works for the person and what doesn't. Oh, I was answering a question. Waleed. Yeah, I might be taking a question literally again, okay? I gotta sometimes be creative with the questions. Yeah, no, I think nothing comes for that one. Waleed, my answer is I don't know. There's the reference on my website of different practices to settle down the person, but I don't know which ones will work for you or not. But just notice that that question, that person that feels insecure about it, is arising from freedom and is freedom. That very question, that very thought, and all the chaos from the human. The chaotic person that feels like it can't relax itself, or it's not enough, or it goes silent and then it doesn't. All of that is freedom appearing. Yeah. And in the flow of things, so in the person, nothing is constant. Nothing is constant in the flow of things. It appears to be constant, like I have had a constant relationship for 20 years, but nothing is. It's always in flux. Always in flux. That person that you think you've had a relationship for 20 years, every 7 years, all their cells completely regenerate. So you're actually speaking to a completely different body, literally. Hey, Susan. Hello, lovely to hear from you, Susan. Hi, Lisa. Wanted to tell you I'm pregnant. I miss chatting to you one-to-one. Hopefully again in the future. I will try to catch your Zoom later this month. Congratulations. That is super fantastic. I am happy for you. If you could talk about the journey of a child to adult as it pertains to non-duality. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Many blessings, Lisa. And I sometimes feel selfish for bringing life into this world because I feel that the world is not so great sometimes. Any thoughts on that? Just let me check everything is working. Yes. So you're not bringing life into this world. It feels like that, like I chose, like me as a person, Susan, chose to bring life into this world, but how did you do any of it? I mean, my God, the act of getting pregnant is absolutely so miraculous. That this tiny little wormy creature meets this tiny little egg, and then it starts growing in your body. I mean, that is beyond. A baby starts growing in the body, and then when does consciousness start and stop? When does birth start and stop? I mean, like, obviously we've got the literal things of birth. It happens when it comes out of the lady's vagina. But I mean, like, when is that life starting? Does it start as a little wormy? Does it start as a little egg? Does it start when they meet? Does it start when they're grown inside the genitalia? Does it start the food you eat? Or does it start the rain that poured onto your food in order for it to grow? At what point does this particular life form begin? And then you think, I had children. I had children. It's not you. Who are you? And when did you begin? When your mom and dad met? When your mom got dumped by the lover previous to your father? When your grandparents met? When your great-grandparents met? When there was the European emigration to America? The first person I went to America, I don't even know who that was. Was it Columbus? I think it I don't know who first made it over there. I think it was a Portuguese person, maybe. Or maybe Columbus was. Oh, God. Yeah. I am terrible at Trivial Pursuit. So you didn't get pregnant and you've not got a baby that you created in your belly. That is life's creation, just like the grass growing, the dandelions blowing in the wind, the sun shining, the sky bluing. Yeah, that is happening. And it couldn't be any other way, ever. And also this question with bad things, like, I understand that we can perceive things that are happening when they're not here. So the war that's happening, the sea thing that happened over the last couple of years, the parliaments or what are they called in America again? Parliaments or prime minister, they're called president, all these types of things. I understand we can perceive that, but actually here, is there a problem here? This is what I notice. I notice that people into spirituality tend to sometimes fixate on badness a lot, and it makes me wonder sometimes if that's why they're drawn to the light, because they have a strong polarity of light and dark. So when I say the light, I mean like spirituality. And I think it's amazing that we can think about these things and we can try to navigate a society in which they arise less. But there's also the point that there is nothing bad happening now. Where is this badness? I mean, yeah, if you're like being held up by a gun, by a rifle, and like someone's shooting you, like that is terrifying on a human level. But on the absolute, it's not. But most of us aren't living in that. And where is the badness happening in your life? Especially if you don't turn on the news. Where is it happening? If you don't think about the economy, ecology, politics, where is this badness? Like there is just this moment, and this moment is loving itself. And I'm not trying to boycott, no, what is that word? Bypass difficult emotions or difficult feelings or difficult things that are happening in life. But I just want to bring back to this point is what is bad happening now. There is this radical freedom, and then there is the imagination. The imagination is useful. Yes, we need to use it. Yes, we need to be smart. Yes. But if we just try to go beyond that for a moment, where is the problem beyond the imagination? And I think it's important that our imagination can perceive the lion running at us, can perceive when somebody is an abuser, can perceive when you're in a bad situation. But you only need that small percentage of the time, right here, right now. Where is the problem? Where is badness? Where is goodness? Where is the light and the dark and the free and the caged? Right here, right here. The born and the unborn, the pregnant and the non-pregnant, where is all of that? It's only in this imagination, this fuzz in which the person is continuously struggling in. Then there is this, which is love, which is free, which is alive and like is celebrating, like, here I am, here I am, here I am. With a cartoon voice. It really is. Everything is in the hands of God. Everything. The problem with speaking like this, and I've veered away from it for a bit because it's like the invitation for people to bypass. But it's also so freaking important, and I'm not trying to give people the invitation to bypass, but it's just such a celebration saying these things. And what I mean by an invitation to bypass, it's like the mind sitting there and thinking, there is no right or wrong, so it doesn't matter if I cheat on my partner, or it doesn't matter if I steal from my partner, or it doesn't matter if I do all these things. And that is not what I'm saying. I mean, that's just so irrelevant, but it feels very relevant to the mind. Or there is nobody suffering here. I am free. Even though like I'm in complete hell, I am free. And then presenting yourself to the world like you're free because you've intellectually understood something, but the body, the actual reality of it is that you're in hell. But where is war? So put that all aside. Like we've gone into these like little mind things. Put that aside. And where is badness? Where is badness? Where is war? Where is turmoil? Only in your own mind. Right here is freedom. It is free. Ich liebe dich. Ich liebe dich. Man, if you have white behind you, I don't know if you know this about being on the camera. I've been on it for many years. And if you have white behind you, and most of my homes that I live in, places I stay, walls that are white and lots of windows, which is so luxurious and lovely, but it makes you look like a tomato. Just, a little something. Tomato. I am a tomato. Tomato Cairns. And then if I like hold my face a little bit more, I'm gonna go more red. Where is the problem, Lisa? Yeah, where is the problem? Who knows that I'm a tomato if we don't think about it? It's just the way it is. There is no tomato. There is no tomato soup. There is only everything. There is no tomato face. There's only everything. Okay, back to Skype and another question. But thank you so much for your question, Susan. I really enjoyed answering that. I have to say, out of all the ways I express, I do really love expressing radical non-duality. But I'm always reluctant to because of the interpretation of it and how easily people get it wrong. The sense here knows for years of doing this stuff. Hello, Martin. Do you pronounce that the same as the English way? I doubt it. Martin. I manipulate myself, look away from what I don't want to hear. I don't face what I don't want to accept. This is like a great question after what I was just speaking about. Run away from emotions, get rid of annoying thoughts that don't fit into the picture as quickly as possible, or try to condone things. Everything has a downside. If I write something good, I don't have to write the downside. When I write something bad, I like to mention the flip side. I'm sorry it's not in a question format. I want to see everything. I want to be completely honest. What can help with this? Well, I mean, my advice now, after many, many years of working with people, although to people that are really old, it won't seem like many years, but to people that are middle-aged or younger, it might seem like many years. So after many years, I realized that it's most probably, with this stuff, better to work with someone one-to-one. So better to book a session with someone and express it. Obviously, you don't want to pick a non-duality teacher that's just going to not look at the personal. You want to pick somebody that works with the personal, also knows non-duality, also a therapist as well. I have recommendations on my website. I am currently fully booked and don't take on new people. So, yes. So if you go to the reference page on my website, and I think this is the best way, because the mind is cunning and it's great to have someone to look from the outside and point things out and direct you. because these things are so personal. And I totally agree with you. You know, if you've got that type of thinking, then you'll listen to what I say just as a talk. So if I go into like extreme non-duality, a radical non-duality, you are going to twist that for yourself. If you want to be better than other people, you'll name yourself as free. If you want to be worse than other people, you might name yourself as a seeker or not knowing anything. If you have a difficult emotion, you might keep repeating to yourself, this is all there is, this is all there is. So, there's so many different avenues in which your mind could take to escape what's happening. Because ultimately, everything that you think and feel is freedom expressing itself. So every thought, when it says, I manipulate myself, I'm good, I'm bad, I'm right, I'm wrong, I'm the lover, I'm the hater, every thought is freedom, is that freedom. Just like everything now is that freedom. It is all it. Every goddamn thing. There's nothing that's left out. That's why it's called freedom. Thanks, Martin. Martin. Hi, Marika. Hi, Lisa. I lost my identity seemingly. It happened. It feels so new to me. Can you call me? Oh. Sometimes these conversations can be really awkward, Marika. If you lost your identity, then what is there to speak about? The reason that they can be awkward sometimes, these types of conversations, is because sometimes I speak to people that are like this and they just want to express themselves, which is completely valid and really wonderful. I can imagine if you feel really free, then there can be this bursting of like energy that wants to express itself. But it's like not the most appropriate place to do it on my talk. So maybe you could just write down what exactly it is you want if I call you. And if it is to express your freedom, that's really beautiful, but these conversations tend to be a bit painful for me. I love hearing people's freedom, but it's like my job and my mission here is to answer people's questions. And that's just kind of like a listening, and I like to listen, but it's just not the place, I don't think, for it. If you've been to loads of my retreats, like it happens quite often that people have awakenings and then they have lots of talking energy that wants to come out afterwards, and you'll understand what I mean. My partner will be laughing listening to this because he's seen it many times. But yeah, if you have actually something that you want to ask or discuss, then I'm happy to. But if you write that in the box, if it's just because you want to speak and express your freedom to someone, then it's maybe not the best. Maybe you can just write me a big massive paragraph afterwards and I will enjoy reading that. Hey, Anthony. I was a very scared child since I can remember. Feel like I have still a scared child inside me and comes out every day as soon as there is a little confrontation or stressful situation. How to deal with that scared child? Thank you. Work with someone, 121, Anthony. I can't really deal with that on this stream. Like, I don't know what's going on in you or what's happening. So work with someone one-on-one. You can go to my reference page and there's lots of teachers there. There's psychologists, there's all types, shamans, and just have this dialogue with people and see what they point to when they get to know you and when they get to know the dynamic. From the non-dualistic perspective, from the absolute, there is a scared child that's arising out of complete freedom. But this is maybe not the appropriate thing to say to you, because maybe you need to go into time and space and really examine like the karma and the conditions around that scared child. But from the absolute perspective, that scared child is freedom. This moment is freedom. Freedom. Right here. Those words that you typed, these words that I'm speaking, the sounds that we hear, all of it is that. So the scared child feels like there is like something big, bad out there that is going to come and get you and devour you. And it's mostly connected to your relationship with your parents or your caregivers. And it feels like it's going to be devoured. And then there is lots of adrenaline and fear that's produced. And then a habit gets inside the body. But that has always been inside your imagination. Yes, the body is going to be devoured by life at some point. That is the nature of these forms, but your absolute nature cannot be devoured. Who you are as everything cannot be devoured. Yeah, thanks, Anthony. Karen, you talk so well, so liberating to listen to, so resonating all that you pronounce. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice, Karen, to hear that. Yes, hands. Okay. Hello. Hello. I can't hear you, Hans. I think it's you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Nice. My mic wasn't completely plugged in. Let me turn off your volume. Yes. How are you?
Yes, very well, thank you. I'm enjoying speaking about non-duality.
Yeah, nice. You said something very something that very hit me today, and that was about I think I forgot. Wait. Oh my god. I was just writing about it, and it just blanks out. It was about.
You can just take it. You don't have to feel the silence. You can just sit for a while and have a think about it.
Yeah, I'll try. One moment.
I'm just going to go to the toilet, Hans, while you think about it. Oh, sorry.
I'm going to the toilet as well.
Okay.
I have to go as well. All right.
Are you back? Hello?
Hello.
Hello. Now you've forgotten again, eh?
Not really. Oh yeah, you told something about certain conditionings, how we start to identify with them, and how it creates like a body feeling, and then we think we're that.
Mm-hmm.
So we become really solidified. And yeah, that really hit me, and because I've been trying to do a lot of deconditioning by meditation and non-duality, and up until really recently, like a few days ago, I kind of woke out in some certain feelings, and that totally changed my relationship to those feelings. It felt like I was. So I feel other people's feeling really strongly, for the better or the worse. It's like kind of I think it's a personality thing, and it's like also a trauma thing. And I kind of operated. I really relied on that so much to navigate myself into the world, and also and it's really helped me. Like, for example, when I find a new teacher, I just looked to his energy or her energy, and if I felt I could trust them, I deeply knew I could trust them. So I really, a lot of my political views and things like that are really based on if I could trust a person, if I look at them, if I could see or hear him or her speak, if that makes sense. I really pick up on the energy really strongly, if that makes sense. And so really recently I woke up a little bit out of that, because it wasn't serving me anymore. It was kind of limiting myself. And when you were just saying that about the feelings, the contractions, the conditionings, along with the other part that I've found out for myself, I really thought, oh my God, there is like a lot of freedom to recondition myself, to make new habits. It's kind of like this whole body is kind of like a pure conditioning machine. It's almost like there's only karma, if that makes sense. There's only conditionings, and I'm struggling with a lot of deep hopelessness. So I can have like big hopelessness attacks where I get completely, I can't even think. I can't even see possibilities to come out. And it drives me to strong suicidal ideation a lot of the times. But hearing you talk, I thought, okay, I can really change this. And my question to you is, how would you approach that? How would you balance like changing that, but also like respecting your own feelings, like respecting where you are now? Because there's a lot of pain, when you try to do a change. That's the problem for me. When you try to do a change, there's so much pain. How do you approach something like that?
My immediate response is, I don't know. But again, I might be taking it too literally. I have to sometimes like try to get out of the literalness of the question and try and think of it more creatively.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how somebody irons out their karmas. Like I've got suggestions of things that I've done and things I have read about and know have helped other people. But one thing that I learn from working with people and continuously humbled by is that it's so different for everybody, like what changes their conditioning and their karma and their habits. Like the big change is like the waking up, is like really seeing who you are, and really like what I would call an energetic shift. Like that is the collapse of seeking, so really being contented with what you are now as this. And then the other part, like I just feel like, if I'm really honest, I don't know, like if we had a one-to-one session together and you came with a particular problem, I would explore it with you, but I would constantly be changing the way I'm working dependent on your responses. And it's like an intuitive thing and a learned thing. So it's like what I feel in the moment, but it's also comes from like years and years of knowledge of this subject, like an obsessiveness of this subject. I mean, my biggest advice to someone is to work closely with someone that's into non-duality and working with the personal dynamics. That would be my biggest advice, I think, because when you're working on yourself, like it's really great to work on yourself in the privacy of your own home, but there's always the possibility for hiding. And what I notice people do is they repetitively tell the same story to themselves and they don't realize that they are doing that. So they're having a realization about a feeling, but they've been having that realization for years, and they don't really realize that they're doing it again and again and again. But when you're working with someone repetitively, then they can point this out to you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's something I noticed also within myself. It's like, it's so hard to break out of a certain pattern. And even admitting it to yourself is like, because I'm so defensive about so much stuff, like I'm sometimes relying on non-duality to fix certain things, or like, and then when people challenge that a little bit, I can feel this defensiveness, and it's barely there. It's like I can up until really recently I can perceive it, and that's so shocking to me that all those months or years, it's apparently so deep that I can't even see it, that I'm defensive about certain things. So it's kind of shocking to me that how this mechanism is so hard, trying so hard to not change, if it makes
Yeah, sure. The most important part, though, is that this is it. So that person which you're imagining now, that has this defensiveness for many years and been hidden and is very subtle, this is all imagination that completely doesn't exist now. Completely. So yeah, it's good to recognize these dynamics, and this is what's great working with someone. But at the same time, that completely doesn't exist. There is this aliveness here, and then there is a habit of the mind that keeps repeating a story of you, making it seem like there is something solid here. But the you is like a film, like the old-fashioned films, where you get lots of pictures put together very quickly, giving the appearance of somebody, but there's not an actual somebody there. So there is this film playing of you, and then you want to fix this defensiveness, and that's really noble and that's really great, and I'm not against that, but it's appearing in a freedom that's already here, that's expansive, that's huge, that's large, that's still, that's never ending, that has no complaint. And that's who you are. That's what's perceiving now. That is the perceiver and the perception. There's the subject and the object. It's here right now in this, as this. It has no complaint against anything. What does that do? What does that do when I say that? I can imagine that could bring up defensiveness in you.
No, it doesn't bring.
Yeah.
It brings. I don't know. I just look, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. The message does. It kind of brings me back to this. I don't know what to say. It kind of brings me. It don't even brings me back. It kind of like lets me look to this emptiness.
Yeah, this vastness. Like we're all standing on this big black hole of nothing.
Yes, but I just find it a little bit too annoying yet. Like my conditionings that are in the body yet, they're just a little bit too annoying, and I just don't want to. It's kind of like something's. I don't want to look completely like I don't want to. Yeah.
Not exist. Because who would you be if you didn't exist?
Yeah, well, when you say all those things, there's like a movement. For me, it's not really scary. For me, it's like it's moving my energy body to something peaceful, alive.
And so, what you think is that it's moving your energy to something peaceful and alive, but actually, it's just that peacefulness is coming forward more. Like, so there isn't something that's being moved to that. There isn't something that's getting anything. It's just that this aliveness, which is this freedom, which is like coming forward more. Like, here I am, which isn't everything, and it's never really been behind, but it's just seemingly been behind because the person has taken up so much space. Person is like a big, massive Jabba the Hutt. How do you say that? Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars. Like,
Jabba the Hutt,
yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, nice, cool.
Then the person's like, give me, like Jabba the Hutt. And then here it is.
Yeah. And also take it or claim it, and then it goes back to the person. It's like,
Yeah. Person wants. I want something I want a pleasure. I want something to dull this down. It's not what you want. What you want is this. Always what you want is this.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, this is a little bit a sensitive topic. It's about my own feelings of suicide. I don't know if that's appropriate to talk about.
Yeah, most probably not on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, just because we don't know the people that are in the audience and how vulnerable they are or not.
That's also why I'm asking. That's
fine. Thank you so much for asking that. I mean, I used to when I was younger and first got into this, like went for every subject and didn't care, but then, like, not because I didn't care about other people, but just because I just didn't care, like I didn't think about it. And then as I met people and learned over the years, I realized there's a lot of vulnerability.
Yeah.
But thank you for being willing to speak about it. That's very brave of you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Yeah, I just love. I really. It's difficult to. There are some pains I need to go through. Still, and it's really nice to be able to touch this, to have some little bit access to this feeling of what's spoken about, and that that feels nice. Well, I don't got any more questions.
Thanks
for the things what you're saying said today. I'll bring it with me, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Hans. It was really lovely to speak with you.
And by the way, I really like. I've spoken to you I think like a couple of times the last month, and I really like you pointing non-duality out to me. Every time it felt really, it felt special every time.
Oh,
so
nice.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, with pleasure, Hans. It's always a joy to speak with you.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, have a nice stream.
Thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.
Boop. Susan, I went to your reference page. Is this someone you would specifically refer to me? I ask because you know me. I can be a bit picky about whom I choose to open up to. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll think about it, and if there's anything that comes to me, Susan, I will send you their information. I think all of them on there would be wonderful, but with your personality, I'm not sure if there's any that I would say not with your personality, maybe with a few, but most of them I would say yeah. Marika. There's really nothing to say actually. Thank you for that final information you gave me. That's a pleasure, Marika. Cassia says, call me. I think, Cassia, that's enough for today. I have been gas bagging for an hour and a half now. Did a meditation for 20 minutes. Yeah, my kisser begins to get sore. Yeah. Yeah, it's been so beautiful expressing with you all. I won't be able to make it next Sunday. I will put a message up on YouTube and on my website, but no stream next Sunday. I did say that about this Sunday, but yeah, things got cancelled. So more than likely no stream next Sunday. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I wish you all the best. I really wish you everything. Not just one thing or two things, but every goddamn thing. Everything. Danke. Tschüss.